Hello, sixth graders. We are on adding and subtracting decimals of our Unit 1 notes here. Our learning target you should write down is I can add and subtract decimals. Things just to think about as we are going through today. What is a decimal? What makes a number a decimal? And what is important about the decimal point? So think about what you already know and then just keep these in mind as you are learning today. All right, steps up here that you need to write down in your notes, adding decimals. So pause if you need to and then come back and continue watching. But the steps are first to line up the decimal point and fill in with zeros if needed. Step 2 is to drop the decimal point directly down. And then step 3, you just add like normal. So we're going to go through some examples here. I'm going to do a couple with you and then you'll have a chance to try some on your own. Step 1, like it says, line up that decimal point. Step 2, drop the decimal point directly down. So right below, just drop the decimal. It stays in the same point. You have to make sure numbers are lined up. Step 3, add to find the sum. 4 plus 6 is 10. Regroup the 1. 5 plus 3 is 8. Plus 1 more is 9. 4 plus 6 is 10. There's our answer, 10 and 9/10. Next one to try, 23 and 4/10 plus 1 and 287 thousandths. Now in this case, we're going to fill in this top spot with zeros. Okay? Good habit to get into, so we're ready for subtracting. Step 2, drop the decimal. Step 3, add. 0 plus 7. 0 plus 8, 4 plus 2, 3 plus 1, and then bring down the 2. So your answer, 24 and 687 thousandths. All right, here's some for you to try. If you feel comfortable, pause and try them on your own, and then come back and watch for the answers. Otherwise, keep following along with us. First one. Oops. 456 thousandths plus 9 and 3/10. So again, I lined up the decimal. I'm going to fill in with zeros, drop my decimal directly down, and then add 6 plus 0, 5 plus 0, 4 plus 3, 0 plus 9. So my answer, 9 and 756 thousandths. Next one, 5 and 43 hundredths plus 643 and 78 hundredths. So I've got the hundredths place lined up, the tenths place lined up. I have the numbers in the ones place lined up. In this case, you could have switched it and put the 600 on top, but it's not completely necessary. Bring your decimal down. Put some zeros there just for placeholders, and then add. 8 plus 3 is 11. Regroup. 7 plus 4 plus 1 is 12. Regroup the 1. 1 plus 5 plus 3 would be 9. 4 plus 0. 6 plus 0. 649 and 21 hundredths. All right, 10 and 64 hundredths plus 56 and 7/10. Again, fill in a 0 for the empty spot. Bring your decimal straight down, and then add 4 plus 0. 6 plus 7 is 13. Regroup the 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. 1 plus 5 is... All right, so my answer is 67 and 34 hundredths. Last one, 9 and 3/10 plus 4 and 222 thousandths. Fill in with zeros. Drop your decimal down and then add. 0 plus 2, 0 plus 2, 3 plus 2, and 9 plus 4 is 13. So my answer, 13 and 522 thousandths. All right, now we are on to subtracting decimals, very similar to adding. So write down these steps before we start. Step 1, again, line up the decimals and fill in zeros if needed. Step 2, drop the decimal directly down. Step 3, subtract the difference. So here we go on this first one. Follow along with me. 98 and 7/10, 54 and 3/10. Don't have to add any zeros on this one. Drop your decimal down. 7 minus 3 is 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. 9 minus 5 is also 4. So my answer, 44 and 4/10. Next one, 76 and 4/10 minus 6 and 34/100. Now in this case we have an empty spot, so we got to fill in a 0. Drop the decimal down and then subtract. Well, I can't take 4 away from 0, so I have to go over and regroup. This becomes 1 less, which is 3, and the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 3 minus 3 is 0. 6 minus 6 is 0. And then bring the 7 down. So our answer is 70 and 6/100. You could always go back and check your answer by taking the answer that you got and adding it onto the number that you were subtracting to see if you get the original answer back. Okay. All right, here are some for you to try if you feel comfortable. Pause and try them on your own and then come back and check. Otherwise, keep following along with us. First one, 845 and 34/100 minus 32 and 1/10. Again, fill in a 0 on that empty spot. Drop your decimal down, and then subtract. 4 minus 0, 3 minus 1, 5 minus 2, 4 minus 3, bring the 8 down. So our answer, 813 and 24/100. Next one, 99 and 76/100 minus 34 and 239 thousandths. Fill in with that 0, and then we're going to subtract. Now I can't take 9 away from 0, so I need to go over and regroup. So the 5 becomes 1, or the 6 becomes 1 less to 5, and then the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 5 minus 3 is 2, and if you notice, I already forgot to drop my decimal down, so I'm going to go and do that right now, and then continue subtracting. 7 minus 2 is 5. 9 minus 4 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. So my answer, 65 and 521 thousandths. Next one, 123 and 45/100 minus 67 and 89/100. Don't have to add any zeros, so I can just drop my decimal down. I do need to regroup, so this becomes a 3. This now becomes 15. 15 minus 9 is 6. I can't take 8 away from 3, so I got to regroup. This becomes a 2. This becomes 13. 13 minus 8 is 5. Can't take 7 away from 2, so I got to regroup. This becomes a 1. The 2 becomes an 12. 12 minus 7 is 5. Now I can't take 6 away from 1, so I've got to regroup. This becomes a 0. The 1 becomes 11. 11 minus 6 is 5. So my answer is 55 and 56/100. Notice that this first number, whatever it may be, always goes on the top. That is what you are subtracting from. You cannot just switch them around. First number always goes on top. Last one, 5 and 3/10 minus 2 and 435 thousandths. Fill in with zeros. Have to fill in with zeros. Drop your decimal down, and now we're going to subtract. So I can't take 5 away from 0, so I go over to regroup, but it's a 0, so I have to go all the way over to my 3. The 3 becomes a 2, and then the 0 becomes a 10, that for second 0. Now, to make that first 0, I make this 10 into a 9, and then this becomes a 10. All right, 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. I can't take 4 away from 2, so I got to regroup. 5 becomes 1 less. 2 becomes 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. 4 minus 2 is 2. My answer would then be 2 and 867 or 65 thousandths. That's all for this video. Go back and review or rewatch if you're confused. Otherwise, bring your notes to class tomorrow or come with any questions.